Hi.
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 Just on to do, so I would on a Tuesday Q&A, but I've got Maya with a bright light right next to me and a husband who is being annoying in the background.
And a dog.
So let's just wait and see if anyone's around. Say hi if you're there so I can see who's there. Let me know that you're there. Maya, that is so bright.
Ignore it. It's like nice lighting on your face.
I can't share this at the moment on... Hi, Jez. I can't share it. It won't let me share it to a group on my phone, so...
Hi, Jez.
If you are on, feel free to share it because we're more likely to get more questions if we've got more people, so that I can answer a couple of questions. Yeah, we're good, thank you.
Jez,
Hi, Michelle.
what do you think of the lighting?
Jez May says, what do you think of the lighting? She's in charge of lighting. Oh, May, that is so bright. So yeah, so the whole point of this is, as I do every Tuesday, it is actually quite helpful, that light, May, to answer any questions that anyone has about anything at all, really, just in general. Just in general.
How old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 40. 41 in October, not long. Oh, May, that's scary. So if anyone's got any questions, hi, Jackie Jones.
Hey, Jackie Jones.
If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in the comments. Jess has said she's got too bright, then he's got his sunglasses on now. Oh, Maya, don't. It's too bright. Put it behind there then. So we're getting a few more people on now. Say hi so I can see that you're there. And if anyone's got any questions, please do just pop your questions in the comments and I will answer them for you.
Jackie's liking it loads of times.
And if you don't have a question, please do share the video and maybe someone else will pop up that's got a question.
This table's going to
My husband is just talking in the background to the
the
dog.
dog.
alive, sorry.
Forgot she was on live.
Just trying to stop the dog from chewing the table.
It's not working.
Hi, I would like to know if it would help my self-love healing leaving my actual job. Okay, so I don't know the details of your job, but what I can tell you is... My husband's saying, I know the answer to this. Go on, what's the answer?
The answer is changing job won't change the underlying feelings that you've got about your unhappiness.
Yeah.
Sort out your happiness, changing job.
He's right.
Without the problem, there is something else.
He does listen sometimes. Okay, so basically, nothing outside of us can make us feel anything. We're only ever experiencing everything with other people, jobs, literally every single minute and second of the day we're experiencing through our thinking. So although you might have lots of thoughts about your job, which is then causing feelings of distress or unhappiness or whatever, but it's not the actual job that is creating those. And I would always say, it is very possible for you to heal whatever it is, or become de-stressed whilst being in the same job. In actual fact, unless you've got so much thinking about your job that you just can't stop overthinking it and it's all very negative stuff, then often it's better to get yourself to a place where you're feeling a bit calmer and a bit more settled before making decisions about leaving jobs. Because actually when your mind is a bit quieter and you're not overthinking it so much, then actually you might feel differently about it. I know in the past when I was particularly anxious that I'd left jobs or desperately wanted out of jobs because I believed it was the job making me feel unsettled, when actually it wasn't. It was just where I was at that time. And yes, the job may conjure up lots of things that I can have lots to think about and lots of negative thoughts about it. But ultimately, we could create distress in an empty room if we wanted to, because it's from our thinking in our minds. And you know that saying about, you can be lonely in a room full of thousands of people. Well, you can, because anything like that is our experience through our perception and through our thinking. So no one can really tell you the answer to that. It's just about following your gut. And it's important to know whether you're following your gut, which is saying this job's not right for me, I'm moving on, or whether you're just listening to panic thoughts about how am I going to cope, I can't go on much longer like this. And you'll know the difference, because if it's panic thoughts, they'll sound panicked in your head. They'll be like, oh my God, I can't do another day. I might have to just go and ring in sick. I can't cope with it. Panic, panic, panic. Whereas if it's about your wisdom telling you, actually, this isn't right for you anymore, you'll probably be in a much calmer way. Like, do you know what? It's time to look for something else. So it depends really on where the decisions are coming from, whether it's panic based or whether it's more your wisdom just going, do you know what? It's time to move on to something else. Just changed career, Jez, and managed to get off the doctor's meds. Brilliant. CBD oil I've been relying on, and even that I've cut right back on. How good is that? I wasn't happy in my current job at the moment. I'm working away. I've got on better with my parents and family for not being around them 24/7. Well, yeah, that's really good. May's giving you a thumbs up. Because even though people outside of us cannot make us feel a certain way, actually, you know, when we're around certain people, we can start to think more about it. And it can create more anxious thinking, but ultimately it's important to understand that you can get peace of mind in any job, around any person, in any situation. It's all in here.
In your thoughts.
Okay, so my job was making me unhappy and doing escapism. Lots of agency, ongoing temp jobs with no security was my worry at the time. Yeah, and that's understandable, because if you're worrying about how long your job's going to last, where your next job's going to come from, that's quite a lot of anxious thinking, isn't it? So I can see why you would then think, right, it's the job making me think like that. Whereas actually somebody else could be in a temporary job and have a completely different perception, because to them they really like that flexibility and that freedom, and you know, they maybe, you know, might have thoughts around, oh, actually it's nice that it's always something different and new, and I'll always find something if I need to. So again, it's our perception and the way that we look at things. So, but it sounds like you're doing really, really well, Jess, which is great to hear. Okay, let's have a look. So, hi Sarah, I've been diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety, and I struggle every single day. I've been put on sleeping medication to help me sleep, and I have to see the mental health team every week. I just want to know how I could manage all this with working full time and having one day off. Okay, so first of all, I would like to say that if you are feeling really overwhelmed and you're getting the support and you're getting the medication and things that you know, the doctor or you believe that you need, if you need to take some time off work, then do it, okay? And you might think, well, I don't know what your financial situation is, and you might think, oh, well, I can't afford to. And obviously, if people are off sick, they go on statutory pay, and I know that that can then put pressure on people. But actually, in the grand scheme of things, your mental health and well-being is paramount. You know, I know at times where I was really, really anxious, I could have had £1 million in the bank, and it would have made, and I'm not just saying this, it would have made not one iota of difference. Because, you know, if you feel so overwhelmed that you don't even want to go out the house, then money's no good to you. Yeah, it pays the bills, but actually there was times where I couldn't have cared less whether they were paid or not. So you are the priority. So if you need some time off, then take some time off. And again, if that means maybe you don't necessarily have to be off sick, but you can say, I'm getting support at the moment, I'm getting everything that I need in order to get through this, but actually I need to do a couple of half days, or I need a bit more time off, or whatever it is. So don't be afraid to do that. And also, you know, don't beat yourself up with the idea of a diagnosis, medication, all of that stuff. I have people ask me time and time again what my opinion is on medication. And my opinion is every single person is different, and there's no right or wrong. Sometimes what medication can do is it can help us speed up that little bit of clarity of thinking, give us that breathing space when we're in a real cycle of the fear, as I call it. So anxious about getting anxious, and it's like we can't get out of that cycle, and it's like we're on a treadmill. Now, sometimes medication can be really helpful for that. So like you've said there, sleeping tablets. You know, if you're feeling depressed and anxious and then not getting much sleep, it's really hard to get to a space where your thinking is a bit clearer and you're a bit more hopeful because you're exhausted. So do whatever has been recommended to you. But my best advice would be give yourself time. Don't expect to feel better overnight. But at the same time, understand that this is just temporary. It's not forever, because it stems from your thinking. And the one thing for sure about thoughts is that they're transient and they move, and they don't stay the same. So this isn't going to be permanent. And and just do what feels right. Follow your gut instincts. If work feels too overwhelming, and part of the reason you've asked that question, think about what you need to do, even if it's just to take a week or a few days, just to give yourself a breather, then maybe that's what you need to do. Yeah, Becky, so always listen to what your body is telling you. Yeah, because our body, the physical symptoms often that we have, say, for example, with anxiety, that I know that people really don't like, and I know that people will do anything to get away from, myself included, not so much now, but in the past, really, like, as soon as I've got any physical symptoms, I'll be like, oh no, how do I get rid of this? But actually, they're just really helpful warning signs to us that something's off balance, something needs to be different. You know, and it is important to listen to our bodies, but what's equally important is not to overanalyze what our bodies are telling us, because sometimes we're setting off the internal alarm. Oh, that's better. We're setting off the internal alarm, and then that's creating those symptoms. And actually, sometimes we don't need to overanalyze it. Sometimes we've just set them off very innocently when we don't need to. So we're telling ourselves that we're in some sort of danger by saying, what if this, what if that? When in actual fact, we're not in any danger. So, you know, sometimes we listen to it, and other times it's okay to kind of not ignore it, because it is important, but just not to overanalyze it. Just know sometimes that it's sometimes just a result of lots of overthinking. So if I wake up now and I feel anxious, rather than in the past, what I would have done is I would have gone, why do I feel like this? What's going on? Is there something, is there something I need to figure out? What have I done to get like this? How long is it going to last? I could do without this. I've got stuff on, and what if I get worse? Whereas now, I just take it as a sign that, I must have shitloads on my mind. Maya, what are you doing? I just take it as a sign I must have shitloads on my mind. I need to just slow it down a little bit. But I don't see it as me taking a step back or me going down a big deep dark black hole. It's just part and parcel of human nature that we have our ups and downs, really. And when it becomes severe, because again, I get people commenting on my stuff all the time, well, if you say it's as simple as that, you certainly have never experienced anxiety. And it's just like, yeah, I wish, and I understand why at times it can feel like it's so much more than our thoughts, because it feels so horrific and it can go on for so long. But that's just because we've got into this habitual cycle of doing it day after day after day. And it just becomes pure habit that as soon as you open your eyes, you're straight into anxious thinking. The symptoms start, and there's more thoughts about that. And then you're wishing the day away. And then it's just this vicious cycle that we get into. So, yeah. So let's have a look if anyone's got any other questions that they want to ask me before I check out. Husband turns 40 tomorrow. We had his party 2 weeks ago. It's dragging out as like the longest 40th ever, isn't it, Maya?
What?
He's in the garden now, and the dog in the pitch black. I feel a bit full actually, because we've been eating his cakes that I got him. I always buy him cupcakes so that we can eat them, don't we?
You need to use these on your lives.
Have you got your AirPods in, whatever they're called? So yeah, has anyone got anything else they want to ask before I sign off? Over and out,
Am I speaking loudly?
No, not really.
Good.
We're going out for a nice lunch tomorrow, aren't we, for Dad's birthday, for a nice steak meal? Aren't we?
In town.
In town, yeah. Don't venture into town very often, even though it's only up the road. Hi, Francesca. Don't know, something about going into town that just feels like an effort. Although I did work in town for years, but I'm a bit of a home bird. I'd much rather walk to a local pub nearby than you're the same, aren't you? But Dad moans at us. It's like, you two never want to go anywhere. What are you doing? Oh, God, look at this table.
Look at your hair.
I know, it's crazy. So, give it a few more seconds and see if there's any questions. Anything you'd like me to answer? Look at my hair.
I bet you someone has a question,
Do you reckon?
but doesn't want to write it.
Yeah, well, they can always private message me. Do you have any questions? How are you feeling about going back to school?
Fine. Not really that bothered. I'm not excited, but I'm not nervous.
How many weeks have you had off?
9.
9 weeks off.
Yay.
Jeez.
Where's my puppy dog?
So it's not looking like there's any questions. So I'll probably leave it there in a second.
Who's actually there? Yeah, but like...
They'll get Daddy a treat if he's just
What's
done a
he
poo. Oh, go on. We've decided we need to give more treats for poos and wees because the puppy's sporadically just doing his business still in the house.
Where are the treats?
They must be under the sink. We thought we'd cracked it and he was really good and he was hardly ever doing anything in the house. And then I think as we got a bit slack with the treats, it's like, sack that. I'll just pee wherever I want. So we're kind of going back to the beginning. But it's our own fault for being a bit tight with treats.
Can I ask a question then?
Yeah, you can ask a question. What do you want to know?
What is your job?
What's my job?
Yeah.
You know what my job is? Yeah, therapist. And a coach. Doing all sorts of things at the moment though, aren't I?
Yeah, you're writing a book.
Writing manuals, books, working in children's homes.
Doing videos.
Coaching, therapy videos. I like variety is the spice of life, as they say.
No one got a question for us.
No, I meant to go on Insta as well at the same time, but I couldn't really. Sorry, Jackie. So if we upload it onto there as well. If anyone does go on Insta, then come and follow over there too. I try and, to be honest, it's a bit of a dog bore on Instagram. Just take pictures of me and the dog because
At Sari Taylor
I'm on my own with him in the day most of the time.
Sari Taylor Coaching.
Sari Taylor Coaching, that is the one.
Go follow.
Although you get a bit, like, lots of people that you know follow me, don't they? She's like, oh, Mum. Okay, so if we've got no more questions, we'll leave it there. And I think we're going to go to babies, aren't we?
I need to read my book.
Yeah. Maya was given one job, one task.
No.
That's all right, it's on Facebook, it's not on Instagram.
Why? What's the difference?
You were given one task to do at school. Well, no. To read a book. And when did you go back?
I'm really bad at reading.
No, you're not. When did you go back?
Thursday.
And we are now frantically reading the book. Every time you do it, don't you?
Yeah.
She's like me though. I leave everything until literally the 11th hour. Maybe it's my fault. Yes, maybe it's all my fault and you don't have any capacity to make your own choices or decisions.
Did you watch Bake Off tonight?
I did. I watched it with you.
I'm talking.
Did anybody else watch Bake Off? There's only certain programmes that as a family we'll sit and watch together.
Bake Off.
And that's one of them.
I'm a Celebrity.
Because things like Love Island, Dad just wouldn't watch with us, would he? He thought it was terrible. Although, funnily enough, he did know what was going on most of the time, didn't he?
I don't know how.
Interestingly. I'm not sure how that works, but yeah. He's still outside.
Poo-poo's Marple.
Trying to Poo-poo's Marple. And Marple's just running around the garden digging mud going, nah, not just yet. I'll save it for when I get in the house. Oh dear.
I feel alone, no one's saying anything.
I know, we've not got many questions, have we?
Like we're just like...
Sometimes we get lots of questions and other times we get none.
Like today.
We've had a couple, that's fine. Okay, right, should we leave it there then? And say good night. And go and rescue your dad from the garden. He's got a head torch on in the garden. What does he look like? Has he done one? No. Oh, you'll have to stay out then.
Hello, baby.
Come here, Marple. Marple can say hello and then we'll go. Come on. Come and say hello. Oh, you're soaked. Marple. Marple, what's this? What's this? Ooh, say hello. Say hello. Oh, what is he eating? Oh, don't let him lick your lips. You listening? I keep telling her not to let the dog lick her face. But she does it anyway. Marple. Marple. Okay, right, so I'm going to leave it there. definitely this time, and I will catch up with you all very soon. Bye for now.